Okay, so here we go again. This is best of Craigslist. So enjoy. This is from 2012. I just saw the date on the top of it. This is really old. So buckle in, everybody. Here we go. What a vasectomy is really like. So I did it. I got the snip. The tiny tubes terminated. Pinched off the old baby batter blaster. You get the picture. While it was, as every man who has ever had it done, at least 1 year prior, will tell you, a very simple and quick procedure, I would not ever, in good conscience, tell another man considering it that it was anything less than a miserable experience. Most guys, fellow blank shooters, I spoke with played it down and made it sound as easy and manly as getting a few stitches after a bar brawl. Well, I beg to differ. Although, all the slice, snip, burn, and sew, blow by blow, step-by-step tales I was told were frighteningly similar, and mine is no different. They tape your dick. So after sitting slightly nervous and unquestionably cold in my assless gown for about 15 minutes, periodically wiggling my pink pal just to shake out the shrinkage, all the while being mindful not to go full mast. I mean, who gets a hard-on in the cold doctor's office while waiting for some dude to rip open your sack and jam some scissors in the hole? Not this weirdo. Anyhow, the doctor and nurse bust in like they were trying to catch me jerking it. I'm too quick-handed to worry about that. And get to work. I lay back and Doc flips up the gown with the vigor and assuredness of a popular jock prom date, pulls out and rips off about 2 feet of masking tape, grabs my wang, stretches it past my belly button, and tapes it quite securely to my abdomen. In hindsight, I think it's so my Johnson didn't react to my pelvis as the pain, shame, and discomfort slowly consumed me. Meatballs in a hole. The next step for prepping for the procedure is a generous coat of peroxide lathering my thighs. Then came the covering. The doc held up a dish towel-sized heavy cloth with a 3 to 4 inch diameter hole, well stitched and reinforced with a canvas-like material. You know, so your balls don't tear through it like wet toilet paper when they figure out what's about to happen. My freshly shaved scrotum poked through and also received an incredibly cold peroxide dousing. He says, "This might get a little uncomfortable," and then begins kneading and emulsifying my scrotum between his fingers, looking for the right tube to terminate. There are a few on either side. And then came the needle. You feel everything. Now, you're probably going to feel a sharp pain and some burning, but then you should not feel any pain from here on out. Now, it's not that he was lying, but it's really not that simple. Needles don't bug me, and a Novocaine shot really is not that high on the pain scale. So far, so good. Then he cut into my scrotum, using some Chinese method that I got a pamphlet on, but didn't give enough of a fuck to actually read it. I felt every bit of it, but it was not painful. Numb, but sensitive enough to know exactly what was happening down there without looking. He tears me open quite aggressively, still no pain, just discomfort creeping in. And then the snip. Oh, the snip. I could write a 2,000 adjective-only essay on the sensation that shot through my lower abdomen, and there is not a woman on this planet that could read it and have the slightest inkling of what I experienced in that very moment. But it only takes 4 words to let a brother know. Kicked in the balls. Not the initial contact pain, like when the foot hits the balls or slapped through the thigh to the butthole, but the stomachache fallout that follows. It's extreme nausea with the possibility of puking, and getting the wind knocked out of you without the breathing issue, and the cold sweats of a fever with a hot skin mixed with a sharp stinging sensation. And I'm assuming here, of being stabbed. This was the point where I made the decision not to look up and see what was going on. Let me explain. It was during the birth of our first child that I discovered something about myself that had not previously occurred to me. Blood and gore does not faze me in a person. I actually cringe sometimes watching something particularly graphic in a movie or TV when I peeked over the curtain while sitting beside my beautiful and insanely brave wife and, against the advice of the doctors and nurses in the room, peered directly into my wife's open abdomen. I did not feel faint or woozy or in the slightest bit fazed witnessing the C-section birth of our daughter. I think that I am one in a very small group of men that can truthfully say that my wife is indeed beautiful both inside and out. And again, for my son's circumcision, it's not mutilation if it can actually help him get laid when he's of sound mind and consenting age. It's weird that you would write that. Where I watched wide-eyed and unflinching as they pinned back and peeled off the extra skin without so much as a nose crinkle. It surprised me. I felt slightly faint in anticipation both times, but not even a knee buckle once the gore was in view. Now, after all that chest pounding, I will humbly admit, I was in no condition and harbored no desire to attain so much as a glimpse of what this sadistic prick was doing to the closest friends of my taped dong. Ever wonder what burnt scrotum smells like? I'm not totally sure exactly what was cauterized, but I smelled it. It didn't bug me. It's the first thing every non-lethal sharpshooter out there told me about because it was so disturbing for them. And because of that, I was mentally prepared for it. It was weird, though. Worth mentioning. There are two. I am well aware that I'm no genius, and this might be common sense, but most men out there, maybe it's because I never gave it much thought, but it's a two-part procedure, and that did not initially occur to me. 2 places to numb, 2 holes to cut, 2 tubes to snip and remove, which look like 2 small sections of spaghetti noodles, which my doctor pointed out when he showed me commenting, "Hope you weren't planning on pasta for dinner tonight." Worth the copay alone. Because most men have, everybody now, a 2 balls. Duh. This was both surprising and disappointing to me, as the first one is no picnic after the full frontal sense assault that I was in no mood to go through it again, but it was actually a lot easier. This time I was already entirely numb, and I could identify each tug and snip as landmarks along the shameful journey, and I knew exactly how many more pokes and puffs of flesh smoke were left until I could get out of there and get a burrito. And then I passed out. Okay, procedure's over, doctor's gone, nurse is gone, and it quickly becomes painfully obvious that I did not shave above my penis as I ripped the tape, and all of the hair off of my abdomen. That hurt. But detaching the tape from the loose skin of my now embarrassingly small and shriveled wang helped me forget real quick. I was not in any pain, but instinctively got dressed and walked out of the doctor's office. Yes, office, no surgical room, like a 90-year-old with osteoporosis after a 2,000-mile donkey ride. I think my ego/pride/mojo was more injured than my balls. I was texting my supportive mate to come pick me up, but looked up to see her popping up from a waiting room chair. Mojo back, posture back. Hey, let's go eat. We carefully walked to the car, head to the pharmacy to pick up my new best friend for the next 2 days. Driving along, I gave my better half a G-rated rundown of the procedure, and about 4 miles out, the car began to close in on me. The corners got dark, and I warned my bride that I was going to go under for a moment, and the entire conversation we just had played back in my head at a much higher volume and furious pace. The screaming in my mind gave way to white noise, and I came to slouching in my seat, looking over at an angelic but severely concerned companion. If getting your balls fondled and then shredded by another man doesn't fuck with your self-esteem, passing out like a little girl shortly thereafter kind of closes the deal. You can feel free to make fun of me. I mean, that is quite the harrowing experience you've described, but 1, this was 2012, and 2, I'm still going to go through with it anyway, it's not going to stop me. But, yes, I can understand this was quite a thing. Also, you probably shouldn't have got up immediately after that. You did just kind of go through a surgery, and we're still full of Novocaine, and I'm sure your blood pressure was quite different immediately after that, so, yeah, there's that. I hear now that it's a much more easier experience. I've heard from people who've had it done more recently that it's not nearly as harrowing, but this guy's story is pretty funny, so at least there's that. Anyway, if you all enjoyed this story, first off, how could you? But secondly, I'm glad you did. And thirdly, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I know, that was such a fucking smooth segue. I'm good like that. I have a Ko-Fi and a merch store if you'd like to check those out. They keep the lights on in here, but I understand if you can't. Times is hard for all of us. If you have your own weird story, r/Moonhorse story, send it there. I'll definitely check it out. Every Saturday there is a live stream, and I have a Discord server, which is not a live stream. I don't know why I mentioned them so close together or felt it was necessary to point that out, but I did. So, yeah. Okay, well, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, everybody.